I would always dream about this stuff, but for it to manifest itself and become real, man, it's weird. Like sometimes it hits me, I look around and it's just, I don't know, man, it's hard to articulate.
What's up, Browns fans? Nathan Zegura here for another edition of Browns Working From Home. And today we are joined by two-time Pro Bowl tight end and one of the newest members of the Browns with the big free agent signings, tight end Austin Hooper. Austin, thanks for being with us today. How are you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
So last time I talked to you was right after the signing. We talked about that free agency process for you and everything that went into that. So now that we're kind of past that, we're getting into this virtual offseason program, et cetera. What have you been up to and how are things going?
With all this virtual learning, it's been great. For example, like before we hopped on this call, I was on the group tight end Zoom call with, all the guys, Coach Petzing, all of us, just being able to understand the terminology, the three-step stuff, some of the run game, just the expectations, how the meetings want to go, just, general guidelines, just day one stuff. So it was good, especially being a new guy, part of this organization. It was good to actually put, face to a lot of the names. So it was good to virtually meet people.
That's awesome. And for you, the scheme, I'm sure now you got your iPad and getting it. I'm sure a lot of it looks familiar to some of your early days there with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, no question. I mean, a lot of outside zone stuff, a lot of, 3 and 5 step things. I mean, I wouldn't say it's just, stuff I did in Atlanta, stuff, a lot of people across the league have done. So, I mean, it's something that, even the names are a little different. It's good knowing I've done it in the past. So it's just understanding the verbiage now.
As I see over your shoulder, you got one of the pictures of yourself at Stanford. You got your Warrior stuff on. And I know you're from the Bay Area. Are you out in California right now?
Yeah, I'm in my parents' garage, and that's where my mom keeps one of my college pictures. I'm out here in the garage. Pops has the office, so I'm out here in the garage.
So then that's, this is one of the craziest times of our lifetime, if not the craziest. And we you would be in the studio with us in Berea as opposed to in your parents' garage. But how have you kind of been able to deal with this situation just from a physical health standpoint, a mental health standpoint, and knowing everything that's going on?
Man, it's hard to even articulate, man. It's just such a strange and unique situation. But luckily, I mean, there's some good parks and trails. So there's things where I can still, get my cardio in, still get my sprint work in, still, I got enough here in the garage where I can get a decent lift in every day. So, I mean, I have enough to weather the storm, but obviously it's nothing compared to, being in the building for OTAs and being able to be around everyone, form this culture that Coach Stefanski's talking about. So, but in the meantime, all we can do is the best we can, which is, shelter in place and learn from the iPad. So, new experience for everyone involved.
One of my years in high school, I went to Moreau Catholic, and I know you're out there from the Bay Area. One year to get out of basketball conditioning, our coach had us do cross country. That was our option. So there are plenty of hills up there in the Hayward Hills and all that where you can go run around for days and days and days out there in the Bay.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of vertical places to get running for sure.
No doubt. So you've finally gotten into this playbook. You're getting the virtual meetings and everything. Does that make it feel a little more real? Because it's got to be in some ways a surreal offseason. Normally when you'd be, a prize free agent like you were, you get to come in and take a visit and meet everybody. And it's, has this made it feel a little more real, even though it's still probably surreal to be, as you said, out there at your parents' house?
Yeah, it's definitely, love my family, but definitely not how I imagined signing my free agent deal. Because, my home office is now the garage. So all my business is done here when I'm not working out. But, it's good. It's good. I mean, it's just, obviously I would like to be in the building, like to, meet Mr. Berry, like to, actually physically meet Coach Stefanski and just, my teammates. Like, it's going to be so weird stepping into a brand new locker room where instead you have these, couple months in the springtime where it's more of a learning based and physicality based training period for us. So, I mean, it really is a time where you can really build those relationships with guys. And then once training camp comes around, it's time to be a dog. So, I mean, it'll be interesting pulling up just for training camp, introduce myself to everyone and starting to form those relationships, create that bond that Coach Stefanski wants. So, I mean, it definitely is weird, but all I can do is the best I can.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you'll be happy to know that training camp's not in Suwannee, and it'll be it won't be quite as hot for you as it had been down there in Georgia for all those years with the Falcons when you finally get to that kind of work.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about not losing 8 pounds per practice, maybe only 4.
Yeah. So for our fans who don't necessarily know about your journey, you come out of the Bay Area, you go to Stanford. And when I was reading kind of the backstories on you, you were actually listed as a defensive end in some of the recruiting manuals coming out of high school. So how did the transition happen from high school, I would imagine, stud defensive end who goes to Stanford to here we are today, Pro Bowl, 2-time Pro Bowl, tight end in the NFL?
Yeah, it's been weird. I mean, coming out of high school, I mean, all my offers were to play like outside, rush linebacker, defensive end, something where, just running up field, pass rushing or just doing something like that. And then Stanford and Oregon were the only 2 schools that thought I could play offense. So, I mean, Stanford was an easy option for me being a local kid. It just made a lot of sense. So once I went there and became part of David Shaw's offense, just started actually learning the position for the first time, not just, block someone in front of you and run a seam or a pop pass, the intricacies of reading, defenses and having options based on what you see. So, I mean, it's been a wild journey. Then after redshirting, played 25 games and declared early for the draft when I was 21. So, I mean, I feel like in a lot of the ways I'm still learning the tight end position and still improving every year. So, I mean, I'm excited to learn under Coach Petzing. Every coach I had, I've learned something new. So I'm excited for this next chapter.
Well, if you're still ascending, and I think anybody who takes a quick look at your career stats knows that every single year you seem to get better out there. Last year for you, 75 catches, 787 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think that would be music to everybody's ears to see that learning, that kind of growth, because you mentioned, look, the tight end position, a lot of people say that's the hardest position to learn, period, because especially when you're a young player in the NFL, not only do you have to know all of your pass routes and you have to know everything for the pass game, you're basically need to know everything the linemen are doing. You need to know everything in the run game, all the checks in pass pro and run blocking. You as much as the quarterback, need to really know everything on offense.
Yeah, outside the quarterback position, tight end has to know the most information. I mean, it's just that's why it takes a lot of guys some time, and fans get frustrated. They don't understand, like, playing tight end at the collegiate level is just about being bigger and faster, like not really being a student of the game, not really reading coverages, and not really be given the responsibilities. I mean, luckily I was in more of a pro style scheme, so I've learned a lot of that. I had got a tinge of that when I was in school, but it's just such another level of detail in the run blocking game. And, in the route running game, I mean, it's just the nature of his position is block someone 40 pounds heavier than you or outrun someone 40 pounds lighter than you. So, I mean, I feel some people get a little too frustrated when, a 21-year-old kid comes out and he's not lighting the world on fire yet. It's like these things take time, and it comes for everyone at a different rate. And once they get it, fully conceptualize what they're doing in the run game and in the passing game, or at least for me, then that's when my game really took off. It's just so much information that you got to be able to process.
When you made that decision to go to Stanford, and it sounded like part of it, was the Bay Area, part of it was they were going to let you play tight end, and play offense, which you were interested in. Did you ever think that, basically 6-7 years later, you would be the highest paid tight end in the NFL and that you would have gotten to these heights?
Absolutely not. I mean, the reason I chose Stanford is in case football didn't work out. Right? That's
not bad on the resume, right?
Yeah, no, that's honestly why. So, I mean, I didn't really play tight end. They offered me to play tight end, and mainly, like, I got admitted to the school. So once I got admitted, it was kind of an easy, I would have been an idiot if I would have turned away, full ride scholarship to Stanford. So then once I got there, I learned the position. Then just looking back, from where I am now to compare to where I was then, I mean, there's absolutely no way. I mean, I would always dream about this stuff, but for it to manifest itself and become real, man, it's weird. Like, sometimes it hits me. I look around and it's just, I don't know, man, it's hard to articulate.
I'm sure. What was that moment like when you knew you're putting the pen to paper and, look, you changed your life, generations of your family's lives in that moment?
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, especially, obviously the procedure. I mean, you always dream about, when you're going through a Fraser process, go in the building, you got the hat, you got the picture, you sign in, and now it's just, all right, here on mom's coffee room table, just boom. it felt, it felt incredible. I mean, it felt incredible. I mean, just to be able to, know that all the hard work I put in when no one was watching has come to fruition. So that was the coolest part for me.
And probably it was pretty neat, even though, you want to be in the building and have that picture in that moment, but to be able to share that with your family, who I'm sure supported you from day one. Absolutely. And was instrumental, in you getting here.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, especially with baseball, being canceled, my brother being back home since there's no spring training going on currently, and my sister being back since college is all shut down. So, I mean, this is most time I've been around my siblings since, I lived in the house when I was 18. So it's been good to reconnect with my siblings on another level and be with my family for sure. But, definitely want to hop into the Cleveland Browns building when I can, though.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to that. So are there some sibling rivalries? I mean, you just said your brother's coming back from spring training, obviously a pretty good athlete. Do you guys getting a little competition when you guys get back around each other?
No, not really. I mean, we more push each other. Like, we're more workout partners more than anything. Okay. Cause it's like, man, yeah, we're really all we got out here, man.
Right.
All my buddies, all I can do is FaceTime them, say what's up. But obviously my brother here, like, this is, he's my Wilson and I'm in Castaway, man. Like, I need my brother around.
So that's good. I'm glad. A lot of the guys that I've talked to have been like, I've gotten more quality family time in these few months than, in years. And it
no
can
question.
be a nice thing.
No question. You can actually like talk about things on a deeper level, not just like your daily objectives. And like, did you get through them? Were they hard? And just like, remedial conversation, you actually talk about, deeper things. Like, I learned things about my brother that I'm not going to repeat. I mean, not that they're bad or anything, just like personal things that, same with my sister, just personal stuff about her with my family I didn't even know before. And that's just happened because we've been around each other so much and we've been able to, I've spent a lot of time with each other and just, really catch each other up on a lot of stuff. Cause I mean, especially with my brother and myself, like our year is pretty crazy with how quick everything moves with all the travel and games and whatnot. So for us to like kind of like debrief each other step by step for everything that's happened, we've both been on that journey at the same time. It's been cool.
That is really cool. Have you guys gotten into any shows or anything during this quarantine time that you've really gotten into?
Man, the two biggest ones, Tiger King and Ozark, can't get enough. Incredible.
Tiger King's first 3 episodes, I would put up against anything for pure entertainment value over 3 hours.
Oh my God. It was like WWE, but like real life and documentary and tigers. And that was one of the best doc series I've ever seen. Like, so well shot. Like, oh yeah. Incredible.
Well, this has been a lot of fun, Austin. I know we can't wait to get you into Cleveland so you can get back to playing football, but it's great to kind of let the fans see kind of into your garage, literally, or your parents' garage to meet you and get a better sense of, we know how good you are on the field, but get a sense of the guy that's under the helmet and ready to come in here and get it going.
Yeah. Look forward to doing this in person next time. Thank you for having me.